Y'all, Justin Baldoni has officially had enough of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's public humiliation, and now he's clapping back hard. After Ryan's latest shady jab at the SNL 50 event just days ago, Justin isn't staying silent anymore. But here's where things take an interesting twist. See, Justin isn't just responding to the shade, he's exposing what he believes is Ryan's hidden agenda. And this time, he's not holding anything back. Could this be the moment that finally takes down Ryan and mean Blake once and for all? Grab your popcorn because we need to talk about all of this.
He didn't have to say anything. He did not have to say anything. And the pure fear on her face says it all. Just a disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not a lawyer, it's just my opinion. Now, their invitation got sent out way before the Justin Baldoni BS. But this is a great example of, I'm shaking in my boots, but I'm gonna try and play it off real cool. And he didn't play it off cool, and neither did she. She got caught. That look on her face when she snapped her head so fast when Ryan said, "What have you heard?" is him going against her. This is pure revenge at this point. He is so pissed he is in the middle of this. Receipt after receipt after receipt. And he has to deal with it. He has to watch it. And he's the one sitting there like, I was just here supporting my wife, and now I'm mad. Now I'm mad because I also got lied to. So that, what have you heard, was a real quick sign of, watch me. That's him putting his wife in check for the whole public to see. And she knew it. She tried to play it off, but she knew it. And you can't tell me otherwise.
Everyone's mad at SNL right now for having Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively on. Y'all don't have to be mad. SNL just did us a huge favor. SNL likes to have celebrities on at two very specific times in celebrities' life. When they're at their peak and when they are on their downfall.
So just a few days ago, Ryan and Blake made an appearance on the SNL 50 event, but it didn't take long for things to take a messy turn. During the show, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler opened up the floor for audience questions. And about an hour in, Ryan Reynolds threw up his hand, only to crack a joke that was a direct jab at Justin. And let's just say, the stares they got from other celebrities would have taken Ryan out on the spot. Fans immediately picked up on Kevin Costner's facial expression throughout Ryan's little stunt. The man looked completely over it, stealing glances at Blake as if he was trying to read her reaction. And he wasn't alone because other celebs looked just as unimpressed, while some couldn't even hide their irritation. But just wait until you've heard the end of it.
How's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
But to make matters worse, this wasn't just any public event. It was an SNL 50, a massive anniversary special with A-list celebrities and millions of viewers watching. Well, Ryan knew exactly what he was doing, and the fact that he still went through with it despite the ongoing legal drama speaks volumes. Fans were especially outraged because this wasn't just some petty Hollywood feud. This is a serious SA case, and yet Ryan treated it like it was just another punchline in his comedy routine. Well, the internet wasted no time dragging him too, calling the joke tasteless, insensitive, and proof that he and Blake have zero remorse for the situation that they're in, but rather, they were just interested in toying with Justin's life. And let's be real a second, for a millisecond. If Blake was truly as horrified as she wanted people to believe, why didn't she stop him? Instead, she did what she does always, put on a Hollywood smile and acted like nothing was wrong. But for those paying close attention, that brief moment of panic before she fixed her expression said it all. Fans couldn't wrap their heads around the audacity. If Ryan actually cared about his wife's alleged drama, why was he using it for laughs? And why was Blake, the supposed victim, sitting there letting it happen? At this point, people were starting to question everything. And fans are completely over this couple, especially after Blake showed up at the very event she once claimed Justin's so-called smear campaign had robbed her of attending. Meanwhile, as Ryan and Blake paraded around the red carpet flashing their usual forced smiles, Justin and his family were left dealing with the fallout in silence. And after that viral clip, the real question became, why were they even at SNL 50 in the first place? I mean, let's be real, SNL is now run by Scarlett Johansson's husband, Colin Jost. And in case anyone forgot, Scarlett and Ryan were once married, and they're split, yeah, not exactly on good terms. Rumors have long swirled that Blake played a role in their marriage falling apart, with claims that she and Ryan were getting way too close while he was still with Scarlett. So if you're wondering whether Ryan and Blake have a history of making enemies in Hollywood, let's just say they've got a track record. And fans weren't just side-eyeing them, they were side-eyeing SNL too. And many have called the show one of the worst in Hollywood. And if this situation proves anything, it's that they clearly didn't read the room. This was obviously a weak attempt at damage control, but it backfired, and badly. Even some producers reportedly had a lot to say about Ryan and Blake's questionable presence at the show, saying they were trying so hard to get some attention. And y'all, this is where everything completely backfired on Ryan and Blake. After the SNL show, longtime cue card handler Wally Ferristine and cue card Wally appeared on the Australian radio show Fifi, Fab and Nick, to break down the night's events, and that's when one of the hosts hit him with the question, wanting to know if Ryan Reynolds' joke was planned, and let's just say Wally's response made it very clear this wasn't some off-the-cuff moment.
It was a big show. Now, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have been in the news a lot, and Ryan Reynolds, we want to know, was that an improv or was it scripted, his little piece he did?
That was actually, he had a different line in rehearsal, and he pitched that to replace it, so that was his idea to do it. We wouldn't want to do anything too controversial unless they were in on it. So yeah, that was his line. That was his idea to do.
At this point, fans were even shocked that Ryan pulled such a weak stunt. They were just stunned at how far he and Blake were willing to crawl back into the public's good graces, even if it meant throwing someone else under the bus. Of course, Ryan's team wasn't about to let Wally's comments slide without a fight. A source close to Reynolds told the Post that Berenstein's remarks were not accurate, claiming that the open joke was pitched by SNL and never changed. The follow-up joke was rewritten in rehearsal. Well, NBC also stepped in to do some damage control too, with the network rep insisting this is not true. Meanwhile, an insider from SNL tried to discredit Wally altogether, saying Wally is not part of the writing process or in any of those decisions. But let's be real, what exactly would Wally have to gain by lying? And while Ryan's team was scrambling to clean up the mess, Justin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, had plenty to say about what went down. During an interview on the Hot Mics with Billy Bush podcast, Brian was asked about the SNL drama, Ryan's attempt to make the light of the situation, and most importantly, how this all ties back to the ongoing legal battle. But let's just say, he didn't hold back.
What did you think when you saw, Ryan, make light of the situation? I guess try to find some humor in all this.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been actually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Now, a lot of people are calling for Justin's legal team to use Ryan's SNL stunt as evidence, proof that he's been downplaying a situation he once claimed was deeply traumatic, which in fact proves that everyone has been trying to say it all. I mean, if Ryan was truly traumatized by what allegedly happened to his wife, why would he turn into a public joke? But that's not all. Justin Baldoni has made it clear that he believes Ryan's agenda goes far beyond just SNL. He accused Ryan of actively trying to ruin his reputation, and honestly, the receipts just keep stacking up. This isn't the first time that Ryan and Blake have allegedly used their wealth and Hollywood connections to humiliate Justin while surrounding themselves with their A-list friends, from forcing Justin and his team into a basement during a movie premiere to Blake outright telling him that she has her dragoons who will always back her up. And y'all know this list doesn't even scratch the surface of all the bullying Justin has endured during this whole drama, and now it's all starting to look like a calculated pattern. And to make matters worse, right after all the drama at SNL, word got out that Blake had added 50 more pages to her initial lawsuit as an amendment to the original. At this point, it's becoming very clear that Ryan and Blake haven't learned anything from the public's reaction. It's also obvious that this battle isn't ending anytime soon, because in the amended claims, Blake alleged that she wasn't the only woman Justin made uncomfortable, and she claimed that other women had also raised complaints about his on-set misconduct. That's not all. She cited an instance where Justin allegedly forced her and other cast members to watch a live birth scene, making them deeply uncomfortable. And in her words, Blake claimed that Justin had admitted to these alleged misconducts, quoting him as saying, "There was a woman or two that I in some way made uncomfortable by saying something or doing something that was chauvinistic or sexist." She also added that Justin said, "I want men to stop asking the question, why do women stay? I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold other men accountable." Blake insisted that Justin made these statements on the set of Ends With Us, but y'all, here's the kicker. When internet detectives did some digging, they found out that once again, Blake was lying. Those quotes weren't from the movie set at all. They were actually taken from the TED Talk Justin gave in 2017 and a CBS interview he did years ago.
I've had to take a real honest look at the ways that I've unconsciously been hurting the women in my life. And it's ugly. My wife told me that I had been acting in a certain way that hurt her and not correcting it. Basically, sometimes when she would go to speak, at home or in public, I would just cut her off mid-sentence and finish her thought for her. It's awful. The worst part was that I was completely unaware when I was doing it. It was unconscious. So here I am doing my part, trying to be a feminist, amplifying the voices of women around the world, and yet at home, I am using my louder voice to silence the woman I love the most. So I had to ask myself a tough question. Am I man enough to just shut the hell up and listen? I gotta be honest, I wish that didn't get an applause.
First of all, I want men to stop asking the question, why do women stay?
Yeah.
Right? I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold other men accountable.
So basically, Blake's legal team was just sifting through Justin's past interviews, cherry-picking quotes, and twisting them to make him look bad. It's almost like Blake's legal team never thought that people would search out the context of the quotes they included in their lawsuit. On top of that, Blake also accused Justin of repeatedly asking inappropriate questions about her and Ryan's life. She also claimed that Justin Baldoni tried to compel her to reach her climax on camera during a scene. To make matters worse, Blake insists that she and Justin had agreed to remove the scene because she wasn't comfortable with it, but he allegedly attempted to keep it in, arguing that it was important to him. With these new accusations, the situation is escalating fast, and it's clear that neither side is backing down. And y'all, this whole amendment is coming after Blake's initial claims where she accused Justin of body shaming her and allegedly walking in on her multiple times while she was breastfeeding her baby. However, when Justin brought up receipts, it turned out that Blake was actually the one inviting Justin to her fan to revise scripts together. Blake had also accused Justin of orchestrating a smear campaign against her, but later, it also became clear that Justin had nothing to do with the backlash she was facing from the public. Instead, the media criticism she received stemmed from her own behavior, specifically how out of touch she appeared during the movie premiere. Meanwhile, Justin, who was supposedly the villain in the movie, had been nothing but gracious to fans. At this point, many believe that Blake's actions weren't just about getting back at Justin for the so-called smear campaign, but some even speculate that she may have had unrequited feelings for him, and this is her way of lashing out. Whatever the case, the internet has officially had enough of her and Ryan, with many calling for them to be canceled, but knowing how arrogant these two are, they've made it clear through their actions, if not their words, that they don't believe the internet can touch them. And let's just talk about one of the most telling moments from the red carpet, because if there was ever any proof that people are getting tired of Blake and Ryan, it was this. Even their longtime supporter Amy Schumer seems completely over it. Fans couldn't help but notice how uncomfortable Amy looked as Blake repeatedly touched and hugged her throughout the event. According to a lip reader, Nicola Hickling, Blake was even overheard telling Amy, "I need this hug so much," during one of their many embraces. And y'all, considering how many times Blake hugged Amy that night, people couldn't help but side-eye the whole thing, especially since this is the same Blake who previously complained about people hugging her too much during the It Ends With Us premiere. I mean, isn't it ironic? She can go around hugging and touching people like they're best friends, but the moment someone does it to her, it's suddenly a problem? But that's not even the worst part. According to the same lip reader, Amy was so exhausted by all the physical contact that she actually muttered, "God help me," under her breath. However, Blake didn't hear it. By judging by Blake's non-stop fidgeting and repetitive touches, it was painfully obvious she was nervous. But Amy Schumer, ever the people pleaser, quickly masked her exhaustion by offering Blake some words of reassurance. And let's not forget, just a month ago, Amy publicly declared on social media that she was fully behind Blake in this lawsuit, the same way she blindly supported Amber Heard during her trial against Johnny Depp, despite admitting she never even watched the trial. I mean, if this is the level of support Blake is managing to scrape together, it's really telling and it says a lot. But y'all, the worst part of this whole mess was for a moment, Blake and Ryan almost got away with destroying Justin's career, and companies had already started cutting ties with Justin, and the damage seemed irreversible until Justin started pulling out the receipts. And when those receipts hit the internet, the narrative flipped. At this point, it's hard to deny that Ryan and Blake are showing some serious narcissistic tendencies. And honestly, Amber Heard is probably somewhere breathing a sigh of relief knowing that she's no longer Hollywood's most hated figure, because these two just took the cake and crown. Now, y'all, the reactions from fans have been wild, and people are calling Blake and Ryan everything from bullies to outright vile, with some even saying they're the worst Hollywood couple since Jada and Will Smith, who, let's not forget, basically Chris Rock at the Oscars and somehow never even got canceled. But what do y'all think? Is the internet being too hard on Blake and Ryan, or do they deserve all